Second speech tonight with the title of Fuel. Please welcome to the front, Scott.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. I'm doing my C7 and I'm doing it on a topic which is in the press at the moment, and it's all over the press. I'm not talking about Freddie Starr going into hospital and I'm a celebrity at the moment. I'm talking about fuel. Now, yesterday in the Houses of Parliament they were debating the fuel prices all over the press, and also a petition was signed by 100,000 people to live it to number 10. I'm going to break this fuel speech into three main areas. We're going to talk about fuel that you use at home. We're then going to talk about petrol and diesel, and then we're going to talk about where our money goes. So fuel at home. Fuel at home can be broken into two main areas. We have electricity and we have gas. Now for electricity, that we obviously at home, as homeowners take off the grid, that costs around about £78. Sorry, it costs £78 per megawatt hour to produce and then feed into the grid. Now I didn't know that wind turbines cost £170 per megawatt hour. Going green is very expensive, and it's also helping to push our prices up. Now for gas, what we're doing is we're going offshore at the moment. You can see this on some BP adverts. Go offshore, collect the gas, they liquefy it and freeze it, ship it in, and there's a dock in Wales, I think there's another one in Italy. Then they process it, unfreeze it, and then pump that gas to our homes. That's the two main fuels that we're using at home. So what I'm going to do is just talk to you about the price of this fuel. Average household will use about 1,345. That's how much we spend per year. If we look now at 2020, I've got three different people here who have estimated what the price will be. We'll start with our government. Our government have said that it's going to be about £100 less, our bills, 2020. If I look at Citigroup often do studies like this, they reckon it's probably going to be about double. They reckon we're probably paying about double in 2020. And an article that I found today, Daily Express, and this is from the energyhelpline.com. You can find that yourself. I've got some feedback, don't use post-its. They reckon it's probably going to be about £2,000. £2,000 in 2020. That's how much our home fuel is going to go up to. Let's move off home fuel and let's move on to petrol and diesel. That's trebled in cost over the past 20 years. And it's obviously costing more to ship our products from wherever they're made into the shops. So that's why the price is going up there. And it's costing us more to go to the shops to buy the products and then ship them back to our home. Fuel prices just affects everyone. Three main areas I'm going to talk about. Organised crime. When you start having prices go up like this, people take advantage, and we've got a lot of these petrol stations that pop up and obviously don't charge duty, don't charge VAT. It's dirty fuel. A lot of that's happening within the UK now. About 2/3 of transport companies, so this is people that set up their transport companies, about 2/3 that go bust cite the cost of fuel as the main reason that they weren't able to be competitive in the market. Because the fuel is a lot cheaper in Europe. The competition there is able to be more competitive. And then we've got the red fuel. The red fuel is for farming, for building. And a lot of people now that have access to that are using that red fuel and driving on the main roads. And if you get found, your car gets taken off you and then you get fined. What does it cost for me? Now, I've only got a Renault Modis, 51 litre tank. I filled up, on my 51 litre tank I can do 550 miles, it's a diesel. I filled up and it cost me £71.40 today to fill that car up. If I'd have done that 5 years ago, it would have been about £49.47. So you can see it's near enough £20 that we've gone up in 5 years. But I'll tell you what, we can break it down a little bit more. This is my petrol pump here. Now we're going to do some artwork for you. If I find the right pen. It's always the last pen, isn't it? I'm going to break this down and show you what your fuel's made up of. So at the bottom here, we've got delivery. That costs 5p to ship it from refinery to the petrol station, 5 pence. We're going to move up here, product. The product here costs about £51.97. Delivery, product. That supply chain is the cheapest in Europe. We get that to the petrol stations, cheapest in Europe. I'm going to move on. We now add duty to it, fuel duty. And then just after fuel duty, what we do is we put a bit of VAT on that as well, so that we can VAT the whole lot. That gives us petrol price of around 137.09. There's something I've done earlier. That's what your fuel is paying for at the moment. There is another side to this, because that fuel, that tax actually gives us 26 billion a year to the government. It's a lot of money, but the government does need 691 billion just to pay the bills. National health, pensions, that's how much the government needs to pay. So you can see that our 26 billion on fuel that's affecting us actually is only about 5% of the cost. Just before I complete my speech, what I'm going to do is pass these around, these sheets. This actually shows you what the government spends all of its money on, all of that 691 billion. And here we've got two blobs. We've got a little pink blob here, which is the fuel duty tax, only 5%. It's a lot of money that we're paying, but it's only 5% of the overall. And then we've got the VAT, which is added to just about everything. I'm going to pass these down so you can all have a look at these. I thank you very much for listening. I hand back to Toastmaster.
Well done, Scott.